Take a walk with me to the dark side, where the spirits are archived on the far side, shadows with dark eyes and creatures that tell lies.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Ghosts. I am, of course, your host, Sunray. So today, I have a couple of stories, photos, videos that have been submitted to me over the last few years, and this is where I'm going to share them. So this one is someone who posted on Facebook. I had asked for some ghost stories, and this is one of them. This is from Catherine, and it says, "My Mima has a good sense of humor. Back in high school, she had been dead for nearly 15 years at that point. One thing I remember most about her was her perfume, because it was very distinct. My mom sometimes wears it. One night, I was at home and walked down the stairs and smelled the perfume. Like it got me right in the face. I thought my mom was home from work, but I didn't see her car. I asked Dad where she was, and he told me she wouldn't be home for another hour and a half. I booked it back to my room. I waited for Mom to get home, and I practically screamed at her, demanding to know what perfume she was wearing. It wasn't the same one. Mima decided to visit me and give me a heart attack that night. I'm sure of it." See, now I think this story is kind of sweet. For someone who's not used to it, of course, it would kind of startle them and scare them, but I think it's sweet that your grandma came and said hello. Okay, so this next one is a video of a house camera from one of my Facebook friends, Johnny Hayes. If you see this, hope you're doing well. It's been quite a while since he submitted this to me, but he lives in a haunted house, and this is the video. So what you're gonna see is the living room shot. The camera is on his kid, of course, being a good parent, keeping an eye on the kid, and you're gonna see something on the stairs. Did you catch that? It was a quick little glimpse, and I'll share the screenshots, and I have a zoomed in video, so here it is. See, it's very quickly, but on the zoomed up shot of it, you can kind of see what looks like a face of a little boy, kind of like sideways, And I had asked him about that. I had said something to him like, it looks like a little boy. And if I'm remembering correctly, it's been quite a while since I've spoken to him, and I can't find our messages. But if I remember correctly, he had said something about looking up the history, or the previous owners had told him that a little boy did die in that house. Again, I'm really hoping I'm remembering my memory there. So, but yeah, what do you think? Do you see the little boy? So this next video is just a video I had seen on TikTok and pulled off of TikTok. And the reason I'm sharing it is because I love it. I really want to go there and explore, but it's like an abandoned house kind of home structure inside of a cave. could you imagine how awesome that would be to explore and come across? Like, I want to know more information about this place. Is it something that they were going to turn into living habitable places? Because it kind of looks like the structures were put in. You could see the plumbing was starting to be put in. You could see some electrical wires, like they were going to put some power in there. There was a fridge. There was like everything. That would have been so cool. I personally would love to live there. But at the same time, I'd be a little nervous that it would cave in on me. I don't know. What do you think? I loved it. This is another TikTok video that I pulled off. I can't remember if somebody's tagged me in this or sent it to me, or if it's just something I pulled off. Like I said, this is some stuff I've just been collecting for a while.
Something big just hit these power lines over there. You hear it? Got lit up, whatever it was. Almost sounds like a Wendigo. Crazy sounding though. There's flames.
We need to back down and purge out the whole machine. We need to stop.
That one is actually really crazy to think about. Like, for one, I really kind of don't think it's real. I really don't. I think the screams were added and someone just seeing like an opportunity for a creepy video, because for one, it's in the middle of the daytime. It looks like it's in the middle of like a populated area somewhat, like there's cars driving by. I don't really see a Wendigo being out there in public like that during the middle of the day. Um, but if it is real, to think about it, like with all the government conspiracies and the cover-ups and stuff, like who's to say that really wasn't a real Wendigo and it did get caught in the power lines and the government went in and covered it up? It's crazy to think about. All right, so this next video, I know this strange Pam. She's one of my friends, and she works at a hotel, and sometimes she catches creepy things on video, and she said that I could share this with all of you. So here we go.
Well, that just happened. Watch above the printer. The shit was loud as hell too.
So it looks like some kind of like power cord moves that's hanging on the wall, and that's, I mean, what if it was a mouse? But at the same time, this is a hotel and paranormal things do happen. And I'm sure if it was a mouse, she wouldn't have posted it. But yeah, that's kind of creepy. Like just sitting there, chilling, working, minding your own business. And then all of a sudden, something behind you starts moving, like as if they grabbed it and was like moving it like that. That's crazy. All right, so this is one that I seen posted to a public group on Facebook. And it says, my mom took this picture with her phone camera, and my daughter is the one on the right. There was absolutely no one else there when she took the photo, yet somehow another figure appears beside her. What's even stranger is the difference in their feet. Why do they look so different? We have no explanation for this. That is bizarre. So what's bizarre to me in this photo is they both kind of look transparent, honestly. So how do we know for real there wasn't an actual kid? But if you look at the shadow, I only see a shadow for one kid. But with how similar they look like they have the same kind of hair. So my question to her would be, were you pregnant with twins when you had your daughter? Like, is there some kind of twin involved in this? Because, I mean, the hair, the height, everything. And you hear those stories about, you know, twins, one of them being lost at birth or during the pregnancy, and how that twin spirit will still follow their twin around, you know? So I'm wondering if it's something like that. Otherwise, it very well could be a camera glitch, because, yeah, it's definitely strange. Okay, so I forgot about this one. A while ago, I had asked people to submit stories about the Ouija board because I had intended on doing a whole episode about Ouija boards. I have one that I'm going to share later on in this one, but I forgot about this typed out story from my friend Bree, and this is what she says. So my stepdad told me about when he was young and a stupid teenager, he messed with a Ouija board. He asked either about his future or family, and it spelled out 3 names: Nancy, Alex, and Brianna. He didn't think much of it, especially when he got married to Carol, and they had their son Casey. Years later, Carol passed away, and about a year after his passing, Lee started dating my mom, Nancy, who has 2 kids, Alex and Brianna. It was a few years after they got married, he told me about that story. That's crazy. Like, the Ouija board let him know what his life path was. You know, he might have had a previous thing, but in the end, that was going to be his family. I think that's really cool. Alright, guys, I guess I lied. I've completely forgotten about all of these stories I have submitted. I do have a couple of them that are for Ouija boards, so let's get into this. I just got super happy and excited. Alright, so this one, again, I had asked if people would post stories about the Ouija board, and this is what I got from That Hippie Witch. I got one for you. Way back in my teen years, we won't discuss how way back that was. Me and my cousins were staying the night together and up to no good, and we decided to make an Ouija board. Yes, make. We used a Sharpie and a cardboard, even made a little planchette. We played with it, asked some questions, and mine was, what was the name of the person I was going to marry? The Ouija said, Steve, and we all laughed and laughed because none of us knew a Steve. Fast forward 9 years or so, and, well, guess what? The name of my first husband. Now, that I think about it, kind of wish the Ouija board would have told me to stay away from that one. See, again, just like the last story, like, you ask about your futures, and it's telling you. That to me kind of like lets me know that on the other side, all truths are known. Everything is known, understood, unconditional, and honestly, like, you already have a life planned out. You know, whether or not Steve would have been a good person for this, for the hippie witch, that person probably still presented some lessons and things for that lady to grow. You know, not every bad situation is a bad thing, because it teaches you strengths, what you want, what you don't want, boundaries, all of that. But I think it's really cool that we got another story about it, telling about the future. This next one is, I had asked TikTok, stitch this if you have a Ouija board experience. And one of my friends did stitch it, and this is it. Do you have a creepy Ouija board experience? Please stitch this and tell.
So one day I was at a mate's drinking and getting high. My mate pulled out an Ouija board. We all did it, not knowing what would happen. Next thing we knew, knives were thrown and everyone ran. I ran out of the house because I was frightened. And yeah, demons were playing with us most of the time. And yep, that's my experience. Won't ever play with the Ouija boards again.
So that is my friend Rick from New Zealand. If you didn't understand because of his accent, he basically was saying that him and his friends were drinking and partying one night and they pulled out the Ouija board and knives and things started to fly around and they all ran out. Basically saying demons were playing with them. So when you don't really know how to play with the Ouija board and you're not taking it serious and you're not doing the proper steps, because it is a tool to communicate with the dead. And you can sometimes be communicating with evil entities, dark energies, demonic presences. You know, it's a door, it's a portal, and if you don't know how to open it properly and protect yourself and protect your space, you can allow other things to come in. And with the alcohol and the partying and the mindsets, those were very vulnerable mindsets to be doing that. So I honestly think this is why he didn't have such a good experience versus some other people do. And then back to the last story, this popped up in my head. I think it's really cool that they made their own Ouija board. You know, I think when you make your own, you're putting your own energy and your own intentions into it instead of a mass-produced board that is designed to make money. You know, it's kind of already set with some negative intentions. So cool. I really wish I could see a picture of your homemade Ouija board. All right, this is another Ouija board story submitted to me on Facebook by one of my Facebook friends, Heather. And this is what she says. When I was about 7, my brother and his friends brought home a Ouija board. They all screwed around for hours, opened all sorts of doors. They got creeped out and tried to get rid of the board. Torn in half, burned, bleached, drowned, trashed, it kept coming back. My brother left it on the front porch for a couple of days and someone stole it. It never came back, thankfully. That is wild. And I'd be asking, like, are you pranking me? Did you put this back? Like, I could have sworn I did that. It really reminds me of the time that I played with a Ouija board when I was little with one of my friends. And we were in the middle of a session. And I won't go into detail about the answers and the questions I asked. But her mom walked in the middle of the session and we let off. We didn't close out, nothing. And weird things started to happen to my friend. So I remember me and her, we had walked it to the dumpster together. And we got rid of it. It was gone. And then I can't remember how much time had went by, a couple days, a week, a month, I don't know. I was always at her house. But she was cleaning out her room and she was pulling everything out from underneath her bed, and wouldn't you know it, there's the freaking Ouija board underneath her bed. And we freaked out and we're like, what the heck? We got rid of this. We threw it away. Like, how did it end up back under your bed? So we got rid of it again. And to me, I always thought like something spiritual obviously happened. You know, it came back. It came back on its own. It reappeared from the dumpster back in her bedroom. Because that's what Ouija boards do. You can't get rid of them. And I had lived my whole life thinking this until like 5-6 years ago when I ran into her and she let me know that she had played a prank on me. She had grabbed the Ouija board back from the dumpster and put it under her bed as a prank. Now, I don't know if that's something she just told me to make me feel better about it or if that's really what she did. But there are those cases where there is somebody in the group that is just messing with you. I do know the experience with the board was real because the board gave me answers that my friend wouldn't have known. So I definitely believe that there were messages being passed through the Ouija board. All right, this is another Ouija board story submitted by my Facebook friend, Mary. And this is what she says. All right, here you go. When I was about 10 years old, my older sister and her friends brought a Ouija board to the house. Me being a little curious one and already morbid, I wanted in. At first, I figured they were just messing around and not talking to anyone. But I put my fingers on it and it started moving like crazy. I was the only one holding it, so I asked for a name, spelled out George. I asked him to give me a sign. Well, all the doors started to slam shut. Then they slowly started to open again. I said goodbye and went to a friend's house. For years before I moved to Colorado, the slamming doors would continue. When the doors would open, we would just say, "Hiya, George." Don't know if he's still there, but I definitely don't want to mess with them no more. So yeah, it definitely sounds like you let something in through that door and it never left. Um, if George didn't follow you specifically to a different place or anything like that, he very well could still be in that house. And it's funny, George is like a ghostly name, I guess. Growing up in my grandma's haunted house, we called that Ghost George. Hey, George. This is a video I pulled off of Facebook. One of my friends had sent it to me. It's pretty weird and creepy, so let's get into it. That one was weird. Like, yeah, I don't even know what to think about that. Like, obviously, people can be spirits, we can be ghosts, so why can't animals? Because that seriously did look like a mist that was shaped as a deer. Like, you could see its hind legs walking behind it. So why wouldn't a deer be a ghost? We can. Why can't they? That is really crazy. But I mean, it's in the woods. It looks like it could be cold. It could be just a little cloud of fog moving through the woods, but that doesn't make sense. Just that little bit. What do you think? Do you think it's a ghost deer? Do you think it's a ghost of something else? Do you think it's mist? What do you think? This is my last submitted video for today. This one is from one of my friends, Trinity. She has moved to Kansas, and she was telling me that her neighbors are under the influence. Not gonna say what, but they are under the influence of some stuff, and one of them does have schizophrenia. I'm gonna show you this video and then we're gonna talk about it. Okay, so if you didn't catch it, I'm gonna zoom in on it. Pay attention to the car. What she told me is it was only two people in the car, the guy that lived in the place and their friend. And they both had stayed at the car for quite some time. So I'm gonna play it again, zoomed in. Did you see whatever that was that ran from the car to the house? This made my mind open so much and have so many theories and thoughts. Um, with them being under the influence and the guy being schizophrenic, you know, I have a different viewpoint on schizophrenia. I do believe that there is schizophrenia. I do believe there's real cases, but I do really, really think that mediumship is often diagnosed as schizophrenia. They're seeing things that we can't see. And sometimes I really, really do believe that they're seeing spirits, they're seeing entities. And because of the drugs and alcohol and the already mental state, that person's mind is so open and available for leeches, attachments, all of that kind of stuff. And what this video really showed me was he has an attachment. This guy who is schizophrenic may not even be schizophrenic. He could have the vision, he could be able to see the other side and not filtered at all. So he could be seeing the good, the bad, the ugly, it all. And again, I really, really do believe he has an attachment. And it's like he got home, the attachment realized they were home, so it ran back to the house to wait for him. What do you think? That I really loved that video. I think it's such a good proof and evidence of spirits, because what else could that be? and it almost looked like as if it came out of the sunroof and slid down the car and then ran to the house. It was just crazy. One of my favorite videos from the submission. Thank you so much. All right, guys, that is all of the videos and stories I have to share with you today. Make sure to drop a like, drop me a ghost emoji so I know that you're here and you care. And check out my merch line, you guys. I have a bunch of new stuff up there. Ghost shirts, witchy shirts, logo shirts. Check out all of the collections. There's a couple of music artists on there and ArtsyFartsy with some pretty cool dino designs. And that's it. Till next time, you guys, keep it creepy, stay safe. Bye.
This big masked figure. They had horns. This is where my body levitated.
Oh, this chick literally goes through the car as we drive through, like spiritually.
That man sitting on the bed the night before.
The blue light flashed in front of our eyes.
Take a walk with me to the dark side, where the spirits are archived on the bar side. Shadows with dark eyes and creatures that tell lies.
And there was a rocking chair. And it would rock by itself.
It's got some funky shit going on in it.
Very scary. It felt like someone was watching us the entire time we were walking. I hear this low pitch